The world is becoming very fragmented, and we are seeing big powers contest among themselves. At the same time, small and medium-sized countries like ours are caught in between. We find that the space for us to operate in has shrunk significantly. We have to look at how we can adjust ourselves, reorientate ourselves, and to basically draw up a new blueprint.
The circumstances and the environment that has enabled Singapore to succeed for many, many years has changed fundamentally.
Whether we feel it or not, in our daily lives, things are different.
There was a period of calm, tech firms were booming, and the world played by the rules.
As a small country, you're always thinking, how do you continue to be relevant to the world?
Success in the last 60 years does not guarantee success in the future.
This change is not just affecting you in Singapore, it's affecting everybody in the world.
Change is the only constant, and we have to expect the unexpected.
AI as a technology, the leaders are very excited. See what new things I can do with it.
When we see AI, we don't think of it as a disruptive force as much as an innovative disruption.
Every single technology will have its upsides and will have its downsides.
What is the new strategy going to be? How are we going to navigate this? Are we going to be okay?
All the 5 areas of focus are interrelated. There's a string that ties them all up. One of the key focus is to focus on what we have been doing well.
We have been a port ever since we were born. The world has accepted that tariffs are here to stay. So therefore, we have to think about what this means for us as a trading nation. Another fundamental change that's coming is artificial intelligence. It will transform the way we live our lives, the way we do business.
This is why ESR is a very important exercise to come together with the private sector, the workforce, fellow Singaporeans, and really co-curate the solutions to future-proof Singapore's economy and to create better jobs for Singaporeans today and tomorrow.
In a changing environment, we obviously need to take stock. What's our core strength?
What do large MNCs need? They want reliable institutions that have a rule of law and that have the ability to execute.
And Singapore offers all these conditions because we are a trusted hub. People like to come here and live here and work here. And we can be a place where you can operate safely and in a sustainable fashion.
What we have pushed the spectrum on is, how do we change a position from being the landing pad to being the launching pad?
The next phase of growth will be driven by companies that are based here, that have the potential to be the MNCs of the future.
We know that even though construction and installation takes place overseas, their HQ is back in Singapore, so the planning work, the strategy formulation takes place here. And all this work are what we call higher value work. And these are the type of work that we want to create more for Singaporeans here.
We have the cultural know-how to navigate the growth opportunities in Southeast Asia and anchor our headquarters here based in Singapore. Being small has its advantages because we are able to try new things, we're able to move very quickly.
We need to also think about creating new businesses, new business models, new products and services, enter into new markets. That's where innovation and technology comes in.
AI has a lot of potential to help businesses grow. We have very strong pillars of our economy in advanced manufacturing, financial services, connectivity in aviation and maritime, as well as healthcare services. How do we harness AI to improve the competitiveness of these industries so that they remain ready for the future?
Things change so quickly. Within months, a new model comes up that's better, faster. That changes the way that students in school will have to be taught and have to learn. For people who are already within companies, it will keep changing as well. How can you help your employees to continuously become relevant?
Technology for the sake of technology is useless. The key is when you really see what is it that you want to get to, and see how do you bring people along in the journey.
First, we must encourage our people to embrace the technology, recognize this is not a specialist tool. Once you learn what is AI, then you can talk about, is AI always safe? And where you ought to be careful.
Many people don't trust AI, so how do we build this trust? It's the first thing we need to tackle. We have a true AI approach, So you know where the data comes from, you understand how AI makes decisions.
So that very base layer of literacy, I think we must do for the entire population, and there government plays a big role.
What should people do to then embrace or start thinking about this technology is to first start using the technology.
We've also been trying to explain to companies and to also workers that AI, if used well, will help your company grow. And when your company grows, the workers could benefit, and you may well be a beneficiary of the technology.
That's where we hope to put out these big ambitions, to bring in the best and the brightest. When that comes true, then we create the good jobs for our people. That's where we create the benefits for our citizens.
I think we are being practical.
We can't buffer and block off all these new technologies from our people just because it's scary. It will come to us in some way or another. What better thing to do than to ensure that they're pre-positioned and ready to embrace it before most people do.
The Singaporean really can adapt quickly. That is our unique strength. And then with all the enablers and the infrastructure and the ecosystem that government and private sector can combine together to provide, one of the best places to get the benefits of AI would be Singapore.
But pushing the top is not enough. The gains get concentrated. How do we ensure that the benefits are diffused across the economy? And that only happens when companies, big and small, workers up and down the ladder, all of them are able to benefit from this technology. Can they see their jobs become more meaningful, better, and become more competitive?
But in order for us to grow our economy, to take advantage of innovation and technology, we need really businesses that are able to take us forward. And that's why we also need to develop our enterprises, our entrepreneurs, to be able to take our businesses to a global scale.
The span of entrepreneurship has grown tremendously over the years. We are looking at trying to find ways to improve and expand our entrepreneurship culture. First is to see what do we need to do to allow for startups that have been showing promise to scale.
Startups push new ideas into the real economy, and that's how Singapore's industries grow into new areas over time. The good news is that Singapore is already one of the leading startup ecosystems in the region and the world. So the next step, I think, is to build more resilient and diverse capital for the startups that are building in Singapore.
What we have learned is that one of the challenges is the access to funding. And we wanted to focus on high potential, high growth startups. So financing is one. Second is the exits. How can we facilitate exits so that as you grow your company, can you grow it bigger through the public market or the private market?
The startups grow on people, not only on capital. It is very important for the government, lead agencies, the whole society to find a way to reduce the barriers for key hiring, to help facilitate founders to do so.
How do we enable our young to take on more entrepreneurial pursuits? Let them take risks, let them not fear failure. What we want to do in Singapore is to make the ground fertile. You can find something, we can plant a seed and it could grow.
Singapore has that talent. The real difficulty is finding that needle in the haystack.
We need to allow for different pathways for success.
Entrepreneurship is hard. The chance of failure is real.
The key with such failure would be then to be able to bounce up. Perhaps most importantly, the need for our entrepreneurs to have worthy mentors.
So we know that the support systems that need to exist for entrepreneurs have to exist before a thriving ecosystem can exist.
ESR 3 hopes to recommend for government to have some funding to be allocated to facilitate this area. This then results in a different sector being formed and hopefully a mini engine for the economy. By virtue of creating more entrepreneurs in our space, most importantly, to be able to create jobs and opportunities for Singaporeans. This must be the key objective of government.
Recommendations will help us to address pain points now. It will also help us to lay the foundations for the future of entrepreneurship, but we will also continue to find other ways to improve along the way.
If we can get ahead, make sure that we are able to prepare Singaporeans and Singaporean businesses to succeed, I think that will enable us to continue to have a period of growth and prosperity.
Having just business leaders and entrepreneurs cannot be the end in itself, because we do need to create jobs. We need to continue to invest in our most critical natural resource, and that is our human capital.
Human talent is the only resource we have. We expect that companies will have to undergo rapid transformation. New job roles will have to be redesigned. What we want to do is to make sure that we think through how this process is going to impact companies, to provide a way to guide them so that when they transform, we want them to also bring their workers along and help our workforce to actually also transform in tandem.
AI is everywhere. We need to figure out how do we as a people and as a nation best use this new technology that's coming to help ourselves become better versions of ourselves.
The beauty about AI, it frees up your time to then elevate your skills, to drive outcomes.
We want an AI-ready workforce. If you look at the way the technology is advancing, you need to leverage on it and not be left behind.
In a big world, as a small boat in a large ocean, a small boat will feel the waves getting rough earlier than a big boat does. And when you feel that, should you just stay still and get worried, or should you say, hey, I sense a storm is coming, make preparations ahead of time for the big wave that will come when the storm hits us?
I think time is the most precious currency. What we ask of everybody, jump in earlier. Don't jump in later. You're losing time.
Why wait until a person enters the workforce or near retirement before you try to reshape the individual's ability to ride the wave of change? And that's why, in the end, we have to go upstream to the education system and start to focus our people's mind on how do you creatively solve problems. It's not about gaining information, but using information to actually arrive at an outcome.
The essence of Singapore will change as generations retire and new generations come up. And how we bring the next generation up is important. And so I think that the call to action is, what do we do with the formative years for the next generation?
AI cannot bring human dynamics together. AI cannot resolve human differences of opinions. You have to be more human in the era of AI. It is people that will build that trust brand name. It is people that will build that Singapore Inc. brand name to allow us to continue to succeed.
With small population, AI actually gives us the potential of overcoming a lot of our manpower limitations. They need to have huge compute centers. For those huge compute centers to work, there needs to be a lot of setting up of servers, chips, pulling of wires. These, once again, will also lead to growth in those industries. The need for skilled tradespeople to be able to perform those tasks is yet another wonderful opportunity.
We also are quite mindful that this transformation will also mean that there will be transition that we'll need to address. And that's why the last committee will look at how we can help and support and facilitate businesses to transform themselves and workers to transform themselves.
We must never forget, this change will impact people very differently. In my job, in NTUC, we have to see workers and we meet them. You have to tell them that you're going to be retrenched. The whole dignity can be taken away just like that. And if you have bills to pay, you're the main caregiver, you will really be lost.
There is a lot of anxiety on the ground, how it will impact the worker. Some of them just don't know what they should train in, how they can ensure that as the country transforms, they too will not be left behind.
The purpose of Committee 5 is really to help soften the impact for companies, for workers, and help them through this change to make sure that our workers are able to find jobs in similar sectors, related sectors, or even new domains.
I guess the AI disruption is very much a whole revolutionary change that basically will change the nature of work. You will see displacements of workers due to automation.
The key thing here is that we want to go upstream and help companies transform before the pressures and winds of change are on them. What we hope to be able to do is help them think about how to reposition themselves well before they are forced to change.
We have seen companies like PSA transform. The crane operators had to climb the crane every day to the top. Today, their workforce sits in an air-conditioned room, far away from where the cranes are. They're able to then move the containers remotely, and the job nature has improved significantly.
What we hope to be able to achieve is to pursue meaning, find meaning in what they do. Being able to make a difference to the loved ones and the people around them, to be able to have a good work-life balance.
Yes, we want to grow, but we also want to make sure we create good jobs that Singapore and Singaporeans can and will do.
If a country progresses but workers are not taken care of, then what's the point of progress?
I think it's our responsibility to really test the government's assumptions and also to give perspective of how businesses feel on the ground. We have to manage this sensitively. It's not easy for business owners, executives to come out and say, look, we are failing. But you give them tools and let them seek help in a safe space.
If only government takes the lead, you can only get up to a certain level. But if all parties come together, then we can take the country to a new level.
We have to do it well. This is the only outcome that will be acceptable.
One of the beliefs that we strongly have is that no one gets left behind.
For everybody to have an opportunity to grow is important.
We have to be mindful that sometimes the change will take time. We will have to find new ways of success.
Success is no longer linear.
Success for the country is not just about growth, but it's about creating jobs that embodies our values and our dignity.
Ask ourselves, how do we best make use of and seize these opportunities? Stay together as a nation, help one another do better.
At the end of the day, in any disruption, there will always be some fallout. But I think your ability to navigate this is how strong you are here in Singapore.
We need to then evolve. We do not stand still.
It's timely now for us to change.
And it applies to us at home. It applies to what we're trying to do for Singapore, for growth, not just economic growth.
It's far more than that. It's about how AI can create opportunities for every Singaporean to have jobs that are fulfilling.
How do we then decide as a country, as a family, or as an individual, what is your priority in life?
There will always be a group that will require some degree of additional support that the government gives.
We need to really nurture a culture that in the society, failure is tolerable and a setback is norm.
In the new economy, that's what you need. People who are zagging when you are zigging. People who are able to combine hard skills with the beauty of the human mind.
Have the mindset ready to change, ready to adapt, and always nimble and flexible.
We are at the stage whereby we can do things better. But eventually, what we want is to do better things.
The journey will be uncomfortable. You have to put in the effort. You have to sometimes wear the pain, but we are there with you to go through this journey together so that we can emerge the other side stronger, better, and more resilient. Are you ready? Let's go.